During this pandemic, people have been shamed for not wearing masks, shamed for stockpiling toilet paper, shamed for price gouging, even shamed for not social distancing. But how about shamed for traveling? Natalie Compton is my guest, a travel reporter with the Washington Post. Hey, Natalie, good to have you with us in Canada.
Thank you for having me.
So there's this really interesting thing going on here with sort of the social status for folks who are able to travel and do travel, and then, of course, share some of those trips on social media.
It's been very interesting to see as travel picks back up during the pandemic that, yes, some people are happy to travel again, but a lot of them are facing backlash if they do go and post about it. So a lot of people are actually starting to travel in secret, not posting anything, going on these ghost trips just to travel.
I love it. Ghost trips. Okay, so and is part of this kind of like what you might call quarantine envy? Like, gosh, I'm stuck at home and I can't really go anywhere, but this person looks like they're having a great time somewhere.
I think that's a great way of looking at it. What I spoke to the author of Shame and Guilt about what shaming actually does in trying to convince someone to change their behavior. And she said that actually it's probably not going to do what you want it to, and that you're actually going to make them double down on their behavior, get defensive or angry. So even though you think you're trying to do something very helpful, encourage people to stay home to stop the spread of coronavirus, you might actually just make them keep going, and then your envy will rise and problems might go down. So shaming's not really working.
Hey, how do you know if somebody is travel shaming you?
Well, so there are cases if you're very high profile, like a Kylie Jenner, you might get headlines written about you that you're out traveling and people are angry about it. But if you're a civilian, you're probably just getting people sending you direct message on social media or texting you or emailing you saying, I don't agree with your behavior.
Yeah, or why are you there? Or, isn't there a travel restriction where you are? Or, you didn't look like you were physical distancing in that canoe or whatever the case may be. Is this
Right.
is this flights, or could this even be, I don't know, like, weekend getaways, Natalie, to the cottage?
It is a combination of both. I spoke with one person who has been traveling throughout the pandemic, and he said that even with his road trips, he was getting backlash. Both of that was because you're leaving your house at all. People expressed anger to him because they can't take their daughter to swim practice, but he's going to go drive to a resort. It just didn't seem fair to them. And in other cases, a person flew to Disneyland and they got a lot of backlash for that because they're getting on a plane, flying to a high-risk area, and people just don't see these sorts of trips as essential travel when we're supposed to be staying home. So clashes ensue.
Yeah, I'm going to give you an example. I got a friend of mine who has a boat. It's not his own boat. He rents it. But, he said to me, shut it down. I'm not posting any photos of me on the boat this summer. I'm not doing any of that because, I just don't want it. So it's like this idea of there will be no videos, nothing. I'm still going to go on the boat, but I just don't want the possible backlash. And I thought, well, gosh, you're renting a boat. I mean, it's the summer. Don't you deserve that? And he said, no, I just don't want to put myself in the line of fire.
He is like many people right now because as the story came out, I already had examples of people who were traveling in secret, but more people came to me and were like, this is exactly why I don't want to be shamed for my behavior. And especially people who think they're doing it right during the pandemic. They think I'm social distancing, I'm wearing a mask, I'm not going crazy at a rave. They are still afraid of shame or facing shame if they take those trips. So I get it.
Hey, as a travel reporter, have you been sort of taking secret ghost trips?
I haven't. And in fact, I declined a ghost trip this weekend, even though I was like, I could really not post this, but I stayed home.
And how long do you think this whole travel shaming thing is going to last? Because, people are getting kind of cabin fever.
Right. I think that as long as we still have things like mask shaming, social distance shaming, as long as the pandemic is sort of still in full swing, we're going to have people having opinions. But travel shaming also isn't new. The definition of it has changed. So before this, travel shaming meant people would shame you because you hadn't been to enough places or you kept going to Vegas instead of going to new spots. There was always travel shame out there. It has just shifted. And so now it's about you shouldn't be traveling at all. So we'll see what the future holds for the next travel shaming.
Natalie Compton, travel reporter for the Washington Post, joining us with the latest on travel shaming. Hey, great to talk to you. Great conversation. Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you.